Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good morning. I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to End Times Talk. Um, I think they've been conditioning the public for a long time to be violent, to come against each other. Man, all throughout the Illuminati's writings, it's all about division, 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 division. And then through that division over time, during the rise of the Antichrist, then all of a sudden they give them this false unification, that eventually ends up in sudden destruction. Peace, peace. They'll say peace, peace, or they'll say peace and safety. There's some scriptures that say peace, peace, and then sudden destruction. But then there's other scriptures that say peace and safety, and then sudden destruction will fall upon them. All right, and so I think that there's this propaganda that's been pushed on um, a lot of different countries, but I think heavily in America for one brother to come against their brother, or a sister to come against their sister, or one neighbor to come against their other neighbor, or this side of politics to come against that side of politics, or this religion to get uppity against this religion, and they want violence. They're trying to stir the pot, create that pot, but naturally human beings don't want to go do those things. They don't. Nobody wants to go do those things. I think that people that will go and do this sort of stuff, and what I mean, they're demonically possessed. This is demonic. This is straight out of the pits of hell type of stuff. And you got to have something like that going on in order to do some things like that. And I think even people who generally are just straight up always like violent people, they got underlying stuff going on that's very, very part of the spiritual realm. But they're trying to insert that type of mindset into people's minds, and they did it like during the Vietnam. They found, and I'm pretty sure it was Vietnam. They found that a lot of the guys, a lot of the soldiers, when they went over there, and they would aim at their enemy and pull the trigger, that they would actually be pointing around them, not at them, right? So it was more of kind of like people were sending out warning shots, hoping to scare people off rather than wanting to take someone's life. And then the CIA, after that time, had created the video game known as Doom, which has a very occult theme under beneath the surface, and honestly right in your face. But that game was designed to help people become more like shoot them in the face, accurate type of thing. You know what I mean? And so that they actually found out that they increased the efficiency of soldiers by using the Doom video game. And everybody remembers Doom. I remember Doom and like Duke Nukem and all that stuff. Duke Nukem was one of my favorite games as growing up as a kid. So my point is, though, is that they want that from the public. Anyways, with that being said, all right, we have and naturally, again, people don't want to do that stuff, but we have here at least 8 shot, including 4 children, in New York's Coney Island. The Guardian is reporting incident took place late in the evening on Independence Day. Reports say with woman said to be in critical condition. And this was at Coney Island just after the fireworks celebration. At least 8 people, including 4 children, were shot and injured during the U.S. Independence Day holiday in New York City's Coney Island neighborhood. Police officers responded to reports of a shooting at about 10:37 p.m. on the Brooklyn neighborhood's West 31st Street. But yeah, so I mean, those injured included 2 women, 2 women, and 4 children aged 14, 12, 7, and 6. According to the news outlet, it quoted the NYPD saying all the victims had been transported to hospitals. Seven were in stable condition. It said, well, a 21-year-old woman was in critical condition. So, it's just sad. It's just sad that people want to, that there are demonic people out there that want to hurt innocents, especially during a time of celebration. They do that same crap in Israel too, where the Muslims will wait until the Jews are celebrating on something and then they'll attack them. And people forget all the attacks that have rained down on Israel for far too long, from the Gaza and from Lebanon and all of Iran's proxies. Anyways, but yeah, that's kind of what's going on there now. Hold on here. And then right here, Chicago, July 4th crime. 9 shot, 2 killed during holiday weekend, police say. It says Chicago has already multiple shootings, including the shooting of 2 police officers over the 4th of July weekend. So it's just, man, there's definite bloodshed yesterday that took place. I don't know if it was the day before or on July 4th, but there was a shooting at a mall in Michigan, in southern Michigan. I think it was Dearborn, Michigan. And there was 2 shooters, I guess. They said it was some dispute between the 2 or whatever, but more and more people are resorting to violence because there's more and more demonic activity that is arising in these last days. Right here, there were 4 injured in a shooting in Southeast Grand Rapids. 4 people, including a teen, were injured in a shooting in Southeast Grand Rapids early Sunday morning. So it was at 1:30 a.m., just after, all the festivities. And this was at, this was near a church. You know what I mean? I think that it says right here, the shooting happened around 1:30 and spanned a large area stretching from Prospect Avenue to Madison Avenue Southeast near the Madison Church Square campus, Grand Rapids. Police told News 8. 3 people sustained minor injuries. DRPD Watch Command told News 8 a 4th person sustained serious injuries and is in stable condition, not conditioning, following surgery Sunday. 2 people were found with gunshot wounds in the parking lot of the church, officials said. And they're not giving a whole lot of details. They're not giving a whole lot of context. But a church was mentioned twice. Was this an attack by, Muslims on a church? I don't know. Or a church celebrating July 4th? I don't know. But I wanted to put that out there that I had seen that. And so there were things that took place yesterday, and we don't know the extent of how many there could have been. If there's places that aren't reporting it yet, if there's anything more, I'll definitely bring it to you. But I'm glad that we prayed yesterday, because I believe that we averted something. I'll be honest with you. I believe that politics are a distraction. I really do. I vote for the lesser of 2 evils, because I don't want to see true evil move its way into America and encroach upon America. But it is, and it has been. And I don't believe that through voting we can hold back the floodgates anymore. I've lost hope in that. Full blown lost hope in the voting process. And just I'll be honest with you, I think both sides are corrupt. I really do. There's, the pedophilia in politics and the closet Satanism, the closet occult. It was just insane. But here's the thing as well, is like we talked about, and this is a good point. They have patents, military patents, where they have viruses that can be detonated, in a firework display, and it can be spread throughout. So, in my opinion, an attack is not out of the woods yet. I think we need another 2 or 3 weeks, and I pray nobody gets sick or anything like that. I don't want that to happen. But as I'm still kind of watching. I'm not letting my guard down just yet, and especially even the day after 4th of July, I'm not letting my guard down just yet. All right, here's more here. So in Los Angeles, the surveillance state is here, everybody. For the first time ever, the city of Los Angeles County of Long Beach in Los Angeles County, California, will deploy drones to monitor the skies for residents setting off fireworks. So I'm going to be honest with you, California, you have a pedophile problem. You have a homeless situation that is just so far out of control, it breaks my heart. You have a drug addiction problem, and you're worried about people shooting off fireworks? Are you serious? Like, give me a break. You're worried about fireworks when you're allowing pedophiles to still be able to run for school boards? Yeah, there was a guy, I forget his name, in California that just blocked it to where even sex offenders can still work on school boards, still be a part of school boards and stuff. They blocked that. And California's all but made child prostitution in a way, in a form, legal. Now people can show up and grab your kids out of school and stuff, and it's almost legal. I mean, you have a whole lot more problems, California, than fireworks being displayed. Now, what I believe is going on here is they are normalizing. They are normalizing drones in the sky. It's starting in, Oakland County, or near Detroit, Oakland County, Michigan. There is an Oakland, California, but Oakland County, Detroit. They have drones that are policing now. In Kansas City, they have drones that are policing now. Now they're putting up drones to, watch fireworks, right? And make sure that you're not shooting off fireworks. Well, I want to finish reading this. It says this. The city also says footage collected during drone operations may be used as evidence in fireworks-related investigations and could be referred to the city prosecutor for possible enforcement under Long Beach's illegal fireworks ordinance. Hold on, I'm getting a drink here. So let me show you here how that worked out for him. It really looks like it worked out, doesn't it? Now that's what I call resistance to tyrants. That's what I call resistance to tyrants right there. That looks like a garden of firework flowers to me, man. That's a beautiful sight. After they're telling you can't do this and you can't do that, man. I'll be honest with you. This is America, and I'm not a politician in the sense of like getting involved in politics. I'm not right. I'm not left. I'm on the side of Jesus. But that is a sweet, sweet sight. They're saying that this footage is circulated in previous years. They do this all the time, man. They try to fact check things and all that stuff. But here, in case, all right, just in case, here's another one, because some people are going to rest on that one, but here's another one right here.
The past 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, and there are massive fireworks going off pretty much in every direction that you see here. Jasmine, our local fire departments and police departments have been begging people not to do this, but it seems tonight they are not listening to those calls.
Well, they're putting up new warnings on social media.
Dude. I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Insane are even banned in the majority of cities in LA County, not to mention the city of LA.
That's a beautiful sight right there, my friends. You know how many people are against the New World Order? There's a whole lot of us out there. And to be honest with you, you ain't even got to be a Christian to be against the New World Order. All right? And I think you're better off trusting in Jesus and giving your life to Jesus. I think you're better off, having eternal salvation in Christ. And it's a free gift. It doesn't even cost a dime. But you want to know something? There's a lot of people that are resistant to this New World Order system that's brewing. Hold on here. Hold on a second. So I'm not going to play the music here, but I am going to play the video. Because it's like, hold on. Because I don't know if it's got copyrighted stuff on it, whatever. But you see how they censor me and copyright this, and copyright that. Here we go. Watch this one. And here they're taking down the what do you call them? Stupid cameras that they got up everywhere. People are finally standing against it. and doing whatever they can. I mean, even if you're scared to, like, you know, cut one down, take a water balloon, you know, fill it with paint, you know, and I heard a green laser works too. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, flat cameras. Thank you, Nightlife, flat cameras. You take the L and the O out, you know, everything's screwed now, man, with this stuff going up. This is them monitoring us, man. This is them absolutely monitoring us. But it's a beautiful sight in my eyes to see that people are taking care of business and people have had enough of the New World Order. You know, and it doesn't have to just be in America, but it's all over the place. It's even happening in America. There was one video I wanted to show you, but it actually, you know, it had some stuff in it I just didn't think I should show. But it's just a bunch of people rolling around, cutting these things down and busting them on the pavement, or detaching them. And, you know, I guess, you know, word on the street is there's like 3 or 4 pounds of copper and 3 grams of gold in each of these things. So just saying. But I'll be honest with you, you know, when the laws of man go against the laws of God, you know, I got a problem with that. When the laws of man go against the laws of God, there's a huge issue. And this is a New World Order beast system that they're emerging. There's one right here I want to show first. So right here, Trump just classified every data center as a military installation. I don't know if this guy is going to be cussing or anything like that, but Trump just classified every data center as a military installation. And then they just classified NASA as an intelligence gathering agency. What? What? An intelligence gathering agency? You've got to be kidding me. You've absolutely got to be kidding me. But we'll play this real quick here.
What up, IG? I got to wake up to this shit. Trump just classified every data center a military installation. Every major data center across the United States is now considered a military installation. If this ain't the biggest bunch of your government taking over and going to put you in digital prison and stuff, I don't know what is. If you don't know, now you know. Yeah.
Yeah, right here. Edward Snowden, right here. June 19th, Trump just classified AI data centers as military installations. Read that again slowly. Executive Order 14318 signed June 2nd. So on June 2nd it happened, 2026, buried on page 14 of the Federal Register, not when cable news network covered it for more than 90 seconds. Every major AI data center in the United States is now classified as a military operation. Local governments can no longer block them. There you go. So you citizens that are finally standing up and doing what you got to do and getting busy and standing up against this New World Order that's coming, well, now they just put it into the government hands, and they've been classified as military installations. They're saying environmental reviews bypass, zoning laws overridden, community objections. I don't know if this, yeah, it's just a screenshot, but everything is overridden. All the community objections, all these people that are standing up and winning and saying, hell no, you ain't coming into our area with an AI data center. Well, that's over and done with now because they're all military installations. And it's all going to be ran by the U.S. government. This is scary, man. This is scary. Like, I'll be honest with you. This is one of the biggest moves that I've seen towards the beast system. And I'll be honest with you, it's all under Trump. It's all under Trump. This dude that's supposedly anti-New World Order, anti-globalist. Wait a second. You know, just for the kicks of it, I want to bring this up because I want to point it out while we're live talking about this. Give me a moment here. I should have, it's just come into my head all of a sudden. Hold on one second here. Yeah, right here. Okay, hold on, because we'll come back to this here. All right, remember this?
What's happening culturally in Europe, what's their crackdowns on free speech. And they just look less and less like we do. Yeah. And there's a real question about whether there's a massive shift happening now in terms of world alliances long term.
Well, it's definitely, I think, a new world order.
There's definitely a new world order.
I think the president has sought to it. There's a new world order.
He said, I think the president has sought to it. Let's back that up for a moment. Hold on. We'll stop her talking here. He says, well, I definitely think there's a new world order. The president has sought to it. Listen.
Well, it's definitely, I think, a new world order. I think the president has sought to it. There's a new world.
He says there's definitely a new world order. The president has sought to it. He says there's a new world order in
trade. There's a new world
order in trade.
World order in globalization and
there it is. A new world order in globalization. This makes more sense now why you would militarize the AI data centers and make them military installations. Now it makes sense because Trump has sought to it. I don't know why people are still holding on to man. I'll be honest with you. I voted for the man hoping that things would be okay for Christians. And now that I've seen these people in Nigeria getting slaughtered and Trump talking all big and bad, like, he's going to do something about it. All right. And does nothing. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you got children watching, you need to probably turn this off like right now. But over in Nigeria, they're taking machetes and putting them into the skulls of babies and stuff, splitting their head in half in front of their mom and decapitating teenagers and stuff. I got video of people selling Christians, Nigerian Muslims selling Nigerian Christians in bags. They got the children tied up in bags. And then they take them out and you can see the kids like trying to stretch a little bit. Like, it is horrible what's going on in Nigeria with the Christians. And you got a president that confesses Christianity, all right, that talks about Jesus before he gets into office, all right, and then it talks about helping the people in Nigeria, but isn't, and the things are still going on. Like, I'm sorry, Jesus says you'll know them by their fruits, not by their works. All right, you shall know them by their fruits, not their works. Their words, not their words, by their actions. And I have not seen Trump help the Nigerians, Christians. You could go in there and you could stop that in a hot New York minute, man. Ain't you from New York, bro? I'll be honest with you, got a real problem with it. Like, I don't hate anybody, but I definitely believe we've been fooled. All right, you got people that have clinged on to politics as if it's their last hope and hopes that life is going to be easy. Life ain't getting normal. All right, things ain't going back to normal. I promise you. All right, the only thing that's coming is Jesus. That's the only normal. That's the only good thing that's coming. Everything is progressing forward. And now that Trump himself signed an executive order to make all AI data centers military institutions, this should be all over the place. This should be being talked about everywhere. They got drones flying, AI data centers, military institutions. You got HARP and you got all these different nanobots and frequencies and 5G and 6G and 7G. Like, this is in our face right now. In our face right now. And if Trump was truly American, he would see what they would be using that for. He knows. He ain't stupid, man. He didn't become rich overnight for any old reason, man. He's been, groomed and taught and raised up and to be a businessman. And so he knows. He knows. And so I don't think he is who he says he is. And I've looked in the Epstein files, and I'm sorry. Like, I even have a paper over here. I don't know if I could find it, but it's quite graphic. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I'll show you. We'll go down this road here, and this is some real stuff. Hold on. Because I don't want to sit here and look around my office. Yeah, here it is right here. Saving the image. All right, I'm coming back to you guys now. Didn't save? Oh, come on. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Goodness gracious. I don't know. My computer's being so silly. Hope this one works. Yeah, it still won't work. I'm just going to show you from this, but I'll share a screen with y'all. I'll share a screen. All right, share screen. So it's this right here. All right, let me blow it up here. All right, so this was put in the Jeffrey Epstein birthday book. It was his 50-year anniversary. And I can tell you right now, they've analyzed Donald Trump's signature from then till now. And all the old signatures that he used to sign, he signed like this. You can go look that up. You can take that to the bank. But this is what it reads. There must be more to life than having everything, Donald. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is, Jeffrey. Nor will I, since I also know what it is, Donald. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, yes, we do, come to think of it, Donald. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that, Jeffrey? As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you, Donald. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday. May every day be another wonderful secret. And then look what he drew on there. That isn't a full-grown woman right here. Like that's, I'm sorry, but that right there, I mean, if you know, it should have been like out, you know what I'm saying? Like out here, he could have swung it out here or something like that if he wanted to be talking about an adult. This right here, that don't look good to me, man. That don't look good to me at all. And here's the thing. I myself have looked at the Epstein flight logs myself in depth. And I can tell you, most certainly, he is on there at least 8 times. So is Eric Trump, I think his name is Ivana, and Ivanka Trump is on the list. I mean, there's a few people. And every single time he's on there, it has the flight logs that says J.E. And G.M. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell is flying with them. And then there's other Epstein files where it talks about Donald Trump being on the island and that people wanted to go there, but they ain't going to go there until Trump's off the island. I'm serious. All right. And you started the Iran war to distract from that. Notice how nobody talks about that anymore? And there's no more golden statues of him and Jeffrey Epstein popping up in Washington, D.C., or, you know, pictures of him and Jeffrey Epstein hanging out, popping up anywhere. It's all been just kind of just swept under the rug. Right? And here's the thing. I can't for sure say 100% that this is all, you know what I'm saying, but it does not look good. It does not look good at all. At all. And there's been quite a few women who say, hey, Donald Trump did this, you know, and accusing him of that. And there's court dates that he still hasn't been to court over him. It just keeps getting jammed up and jammed up. There's quite a few. And so I want people to be aware of that. But this dude is signing an executive order to make sure that you can't block data centers from coming to your area now. I mean, what these people that are living near these AI data centers, I kid you not. Dude, they're miserable. The water is terrible. The noise is terrible. The frequencies coming from that thing, people can't sleep. I mean, dude, and then the property value of your home goes way down. Way down. Nobody's going to want to live there. Nobody. Would you want to live near an AI data center? Would you buy a house near an AI data center, or would you buy some lot somewhere in the mountains and build a house rather than move next to an AI data center? This is huge news, and it's not really being talked about. And I'll show you once again for people that are just joining us. Edward Snowden put up, Trump just classified AI data centers as military installations. Executive order, look this up, 14318, signed June 2nd, 2026. Last month. Buried on page 14 of the Federal Register. Not one cable news network covered it for more than 90 seconds. Every major AI data center in the United States is now classified as a military operation. Local governments can no longer block them. There you go. That means you citizens that want to stand against it. State regulations no longer apply. Environmental reviews, bypass, zoning laws, overridden, and community objections cut asunder, man, just completely destroyed. They are going to force their beast system in, whether by conquest or consent. They will have their new world order, and you will submit. You will eat the bugs. You say you won't eat the bugs right now, but they're going to eat the bugs. Now, this is really scary, and this is probably why you're going to eat the bugs, right? So it says here, America's wheat harvest is set to fall to lowest level in 150 years. America is expected to harvest its lowest acreage of wheat since 1877. Are you guys listening to this? I've been telling you the oil crisis is going to end up in food shock. The oil shock is going to end up in food shock, and the food shock is going to be worse because they're not just going after the oil, they're going after the fertilizer. And there's not enough fertilizer to go around. This winter is going to be really, really rough. So if you need wheat or flour, whatever, you need to get it, stock up on it, get maybe some food grade buckets and some Mylar bags and fill it that way, or vacuum seal it, put some silica packets in the bucket around it, do whatever you can to preserve it, because the prices of it are going to go up if it, and here's the thing, here's what's really scary. Next, they're going to be talking about substitutes, flour and wheat substitutes, cricket protein, grasshopper protein. Sounds good to me. Not really, but this is where it's all going. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, hold on, I'm going to bring this back up here. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, National Agricultural Statistics Service, released estimates on June 30th that the total area of all wheat planted was 42.7 million acres in 2026, down 6% from the previous year. This was also 1 million acres below the agency's March forecast. So it tells you that things aren't getting any better. Things are getting worse. Now, when it comes to these flock cameras, I want you to hear this dude's opinion because I think it's important. I think it matters. And I think he's on to something. I don't know where he's getting his information, but I think listening to him, it's worth a listen here.
You don't know what they're going to do with flock cameras. If you had any clue at all, you would see them and go break them down immediately. Flock cameras are going to be used for the sex trafficking industry to pick out particular individuals. This is what they're going to do. So what we learned with the Epstein files is that everybody is a pedophile, and they have a whole system designed within the government to go abduct children and give the children to these very rich, powerful people. And that's the system. The product is the children, and the buyer are the elites we don't know about. They're going to use, and are actively doing this right now, with flock cameras. They track your every movement. They're able to know where you're going, and after a year or so of tracking your movements every single day, they know your basic routines. They know who lives in your house. They know how old they are. They know everything. They're going to use flock cameras to actually pick out children and categorize children into categories for the elites. The elite's going to say, I kind of want a 3-year-old, maybe 2-year-old blonde who has like this feature, blue eyes, this feature, and they're all going to be collected and placed in a database by flock cameras. They'll know over time, okay, between this hour and this hour, on this time, during this time, consistently we've seen it's only these two in this area. So we're going to have a car planted. We're going to go abduct these people just so we can have this child that the elite is going to pay $100,000 for. So it's plenty worth it to just tell these agents some false thing. Hey, we need to go save that child. So I need you to get the child, bring it to location A, B. So all of the individuals in the operation are not particularly evil. They're just absolutely idiots. They're ignorant. They're just doing their job. They're government agents, right? They just do as they're told. They assume their higher ups are for their greater good. So you have a whole system. People are going to be abducted based upon just even facial features, on everything. I promise you. They're actively using this for this. Right now, there's 18 police officers who have already tapped into the system.
Oh, there you go. Listen up.
Some police officers, peasants of the system, are able to go in the database, and they're tracking their ex-girlfriends. They're stalking people. Only 18 have been found. So,
are you listening to this? Come on, man. Come on, man. Someone got to be taking this seriously. Someone's got to take this seriously. And I saw the news where there were police that were using the flock cameras to literally find out where their ex-girlfriends, their ex-wives were. It's crazy.
Right now, they're using flock cameras to stalk people. They for sure are going to use flock cameras to find victims. They're going to see when you're vulnerable. They're going to go and pluck you up. You're going to notice the amount of child.
And you know about the white kidnapper vans. Remember when, here's the thing. And I told people, I said, you're cheering it on now, but when it turns on you, it's going to be a different story. But just like people like ICE just plucking people off the street, just shoot, you know what I mean? And there were Americans that were citizens that got plucked off the street by ICE. And here's the thing. I'm not against deporting really bad people, murderers, pedophiles, things like that. But here's the thing, right? It's going to turn on you. They're putting it out there now. They're getting it out there now. They're putting it out there now. And then when because you are cheering it on, the other people that are against it, that actually are against ICE or the government rounding people up, they're not going to do anything for you when you're rounded up because you cheered all this on. You see what I'm saying? Like, like they're standing up for who they think is innocent, even though there's a bunch of them that ain't innocent. But my point is that don't expect them to be like, oh, no, don't put people who won't submit under, a one world ruler or whatever put into these concentration camps. They're not going to come do anything about it. And they're normalizing it. They're slowly but surely spoon feeding this dystopian technocratic future to us. Again, drones in the skies, AI data centers, military operations, the robot dogs we've seen patrolling all over the place, and different businesses are hiring these companies to bring them in. And then the flock cameras. There's a reason people that, but here's the thing, Night Love, is that, it makes it easier for them to track everybody now. It's just at the push of a button. I remember, like, for instance, like my son's school, they wanted to give him one of these laptops, right? And those laptops have a camera. And I asked him, I said, can you get in and like see what's going on when a kid ain't doing his work? And he's like, yeah, we can take a look and tap. So what's to keep them from doing that when your kids are home and getting dressed or undressed in their room, in their own privacy of their own room? But they got their homework out and their laptops open. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, these schools can tap into those cameras. And it's the same thing with these flock cameras. It's the same thing with the security cameras, the CCTV cameras that are all over the place, that are all over on the sides of the highways and all that stuff. I'm telling you right now, all right? And I know people are feeling the weight of this thing bearing down on them. But, dude, I mean, I know there's people that watch this channel that are bad to the bone, dude. Do what you got to do. All right? I'll be honest with you. I ain't past throwing a water balloon full of paint. I ain't past a green laser. I guess the green lasers really mess things up to where it, makes it to where things have to sometimes need to be replaced. So, I mean, there's things that we can do to fight against the New World Order, and I suggest that we start doing so. And I'm not trying to round up anything physical or anything like that, but dude, we got to stand up against this, man, because now they're just shoving the AI data centers down our throats now that Donald Trump made AI data centers military installations now. Now you can't block it. You can't stop it. The citizens can't rise up and say, oh, hell no, we won't go. You know what I mean? Now they're just going to kick the football down your throat and you're the goal. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is. And then they're going to start rounding people up once they have them all in place, man. They're going to have everything that they need. Once they have the power and the quantum to computing and everything to control this. Oh, it's going to happen. Mark my words. It's going to happen. I pray that it doesn't happen before the Great Tribulation. I pray that they all implement this stuff after the rapture and once the Antichrist arises. But I'm telling you, that's not the case. They're already implementing all of this. The drones in the skies. I mean, I could go on and on and on. All right. It would be foolish to believe that the beast system won't be implemented possibly even now. But here's the thing. The mark of the beast will not be administered until the Great Tribulation. And us, obviously, preacher of rapture believers in Jesus Christ, we won't be here for that. Okay. But that system is here. It's not coming. It's here. And if you don't think it's here, you need to go read Revelation. You need to go read Revelation, see what it says about the mark of the beast. All right. You need to see, where it talks about, the Antichrist and all stuff and the things that happen in that time frame. It doesn't mention anything that they can't establish this system before. And in fact, when it comes to the book of Daniel and the 10 little horns that represent 10 kings and then a little horn and 11th horn rises up out of the midst, which is the Antichrist. All right. Those 10 kings were present. Those 10 kingdoms are present. That system of those 10 kings and 10 kingdoms is present when the Antichrist arises, and then that system is handed over on a golden platter to the Antichrist. So don't tell me it can't happen before, because it's happening. The tyranny is already happening. They're not going to say, well, you have to deny Jesus Christ and accept this mark and accept the Luciferian one world government right now. But during the Great Tribulation, that is absolutely coming. We're not in the Great Tribulation yet, but I'm telling you right now, we are in the beginning of sorrows, and things are heating up, and they're heating up extremely rapidly, super rapid. It's a rapid boil at this point, and everybody kind of feels like there's like this lull that's taken place, and that there's this moment where, you know, everything's kind of like, ooh, it's not so bad, right? No, it's get ready. The next birthing pain is coming. The next birthing pain is coming. Now, I want to touch upon this because it proves a point that I had where, Ursula von der Leyen, who is a part of the EU, she's like one of these EU leaders. I don't know who, probably Italy or one of these European countries that's part of the EU. Anyway, she says Europe is facing a housing crisis. It's saying that right there. Europe is facing a housing crisis. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, in America, there shouldn't be one housing crisis. There shouldn't be at all. All right? It's such a big country. There's so much room. There's so much unoccupied land. It's crazy. Go out to the desert. I mean, dude, there's all sorts of unoccupied land. In the mountains, unoccupied land. No, they're about grouping people together, creating these 15-minute cities, and pushing people into them through catastrophes like wildfires, tsunamis, flooding, things like that, all this stuff, storms, tornadoes, whatever. They're going to use weather manipulation to be able to group people together in these inner city settings because they worship nature. All right, there is an ability. There shouldn't be a housing crisis. All right, there was an old guy, I forget his name. He actually he made alcohol. It was like a type of beer or whatever. And he designed his bottles in squares instead of, circular, round bottles. And so that way they could be used to build with. There are houses that are built out of glass bottles. Go look it up. Super cool. All right. Super cool stuff. All right. You can build houses out of almost anything. Heck, they use straw to build houses, right? All right. There shouldn't be a housing crisis in the inner city like it is. That's drug addiction. That's mental health disorders. All right. Anybody who's homeless that doesn't know how to survive should be taught how to survive and be able to get on their own. And if you make a house or a cabin or whatever in this land, that land should become yours. That's the way it used to be. You establish yourself so long, that becomes yours. That's your piece of land. You earned it, man. You cultivated that land. You grew the garden. You built the house. You built the fence. You brought in the livestock. You brought in the animals. You established a family. Your neighborhood established a neighborhood. That town established that town. It becomes that. That's how America became what it is. There shouldn't be any housing crisis. But here's the issue. What they're going to do is then they're going to say during this Agenda 2030 is that you have to house migrants in your home. That's what I'm telling you. I've seen the documentation on it. Can't remember where I saw it, man. Couldn't remember it if my life depended on me. I'll look into that here soon. But I'm telling you, I know for a fact, and you can trust me, and I promise you, I give you a promise, that they have it set up to where you are going to have to house migrants when all of this comes in. When 2030 becomes a thing. And it's coming. I promise you, it's coming. It's coming. Now, hold on here. Then you got the good old West Nile virus that's made its reappearance. My buddy Chris knows all about this, and he's like, oh man. He'll tell you West Nile virus is nasty, man, and it changed a lot. I think it's genetically modified. I really do. But yeah, so we got our first West Nile virus detection in America in Nashville, Tennessee. So West Nile virus is around, just putting that out there. Now, This is what I really wanted to get to today. This is what I really wanted to get to today. This is where my heart's at right here, because I want to talk about this. Hold on, I'm getting a drink. So, I want to show this beautiful sight, man. To me, this is a beautiful, beautiful sight. I love it. So, the World War II veterans sat out in front of the World War II memorial as the fireworks were going off in Washington, D.C. yesterday. And I want to bring up a scripture here in a moment, but I want to play this first. So I want to comment on something, and I want to bring this up. I'd love to have this picture stay like this where I talk about it, but I want you to see this real quick. In Matthew 24, all right, it says this. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise, ye, when ye shall see all these things, not one, not two, not three, but when it comes to the beginning of sorrows and all the stuff that's happening and said to happen, which is happening, he says, when you see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. And I want to encourage people here because, Jesus is coming, man. He is at the door. He is knocking. He is ready to open that door and accept his bride. He says, verily, I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Now, let's break this down here. The fig tree has always represented Israel, okay? It's always represented Israel. Whoops. Oh, crud. I didn't mean to do that. It's always represented Israel, okay? And says, now learn a parable of the fig tree. So learn a parable of Israel. When its branch is yet tender, so it's growing, that green shoot that comes. Any of us who are gardeners, okay, we know that there is a little green, seedling that starts, but as it grows big, the bottom of it starts to harden off and turn woody. And then there's little shoots that start coming off of it as it grows that are tender and green. All right, that eventually become branches that become woody that can hold up the weight of the fruit that they'll bear after they flower. Okay, so let's go back to this here. You have, let me make it a little bigger here so you can read it. You have it saying, when Israel's branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves and it grows, you know that summer is near. So likewise, when you should see all these things, when Israel's growing, okay, and becoming a nation again, know that it is near, even at the doors. Right there, even at the doors. He says, verily I say unto you, this generation that sees Israel growing as a nation, putting forth leaves, tender branches, that summer is near, you're going to know that it's near, even at the doors. And this generation that sees that happen shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. And I'm going to tell you right now, whether you want to believe me or not, all right, these men right here are that generation. They fought in World War II. They saw the concentration camps. They fought against the Nazis. And the Jews came out. The Valley of Dry Bones, man, I'm telling you, the Valley of Dry Bones prophecy was the prophecy after the Holocaust that Israel will become a nation again. And that's exactly what happened because of men courageous like these patriots, that are true warriors, that stood up and fought against Nazis, occult Nazis, man, to help give Israel a homeland and to free the world from the Nazi grip. All right, they are still alive and kicking, and there's just a few of them left, man. There's, these are the oldest ones, man, and they're hanging on. This generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. And it seems that that generation, all right, that generation really does look like the numbers are dwindling down. My grandmother, she's 94, man, she prays all the time to go home, you know? And so there's very few of that generation left. It says everything right there. It says we're getting close to home. Yes, you know, Donald Trump's working for the Antichrist. I don't believe he is the Antichrist, but I believe he's working for him at this point. You're going to militarize that. You're going to screw Americans over that want to choose whether they want an AI data center or not. Man, you're forgetting all the freedoms that these men fought for, Donald Trump. You're going to honor them with fireworks, but then you're going to rob them of the freedom that they fought for? Come on, man. And you got all these people that are just sold, dude. They're just sold on politics. Lord told me a long time, politics is a distraction that was developed by Satan. It was also used to divide and conquer, to pit one brother against his brother, one family member against family member, one sister against her sister, one neighbor against your neighbor. They want a slaughterhouse. That's what they want. They want bloodshed. You know, Aleister Crowley said that the new eon cannot come unless the world be bathed in blood first. That's what they want. They want a final social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effects of absolute atheism, origins of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization. And this is what the enemy wants. Division, bloodshed, slaughter, and a forceful implementation of a new world order. Don't make me play the J.D. Vance part again. Where you know what? Let's do that just real quick. Just real quick. I think it's important that we acknowledge this one more time here. This is very important. Hold on here. All right, let's pay attention to the first words J.D. Vance is saying, because I think that's everything. He says, well, I think there's a new world order. The president has sought to it. Listen.
What's happening culturally in Europe, what's their crack. They just look less and less like we do.
Yeah.
And there's a real question about whether there's a massive shift happening now in terms of world alliances long term.
Well, it's definitely, I think, a new world order.
Definitely a new world order. What he says next right here is, I think the president has sought to that. Listen.
I think the president has sought to it. There's a new world.
I think the president has sought to it. I think there's a new world order. He changes the subject real quick. But let's listen again here. After Megyn Kelly's done talking. Here we go. Listen.
I think a new world order. I think the president has sought to it. There's a new world order in trade. There's a new world order in globalization and the way that we invest in our economy versus, foreign supply chains. There's a new world order, and that the president is willing to shake up some old alliance structures. I mean, NATO.
So, it's telling you the president is moving forward with a new world order. You can't get any more plain. They're telling you what they're doing, but people choose the opposite to believe something that's fictitious. Yeah, we all voted for the lesser of two evils. Dude, Kamala, you don't know what it would have been. Hillary or Kamala got in. So of course we're gonna choose what we're gonna choose. But I'll be honest with you, man. I've lost anything to deal with politics, man. For real. I'll be honest with you. This dude's got a point. I'm just gonna be honest with you. That looks like it to me, bud. Looks like it to me, Hyro. It does. Anyway, so my point is, all right, is that this thing's fastly moving along, and it really sucked that I was hoping that there would be no attacks during July 4th, but in New York there was an attack, in Chicago there was an attack, and it looked like there was an attack even in Grand Rapids, Michigan. But I'm wondering what else might trickle out in the news, about what happened on July 4th, if anything went down. But it takes a little while for that news to come out, because everybody's so wound up. I want to remind people, okay, that my brother Doc Marquis, that went home to be with the Lord in 2017, 2018. All right, he said that patriotism is how the Illuminati in the beginning crept into America. He's like, that is how they were able to infiltrate all of those old patriots, Benjamin Franklin and George Washington and, Thomas Jefferson and all of these different people. They were Masons. They were Illuminati. Benjamin Franklin was a member of the Hellfire Club. It was like a club that would orgy under a church over in Europe. I'm serious. Okay? These people aren't who we thought they were. There is a documentary. I'll show it to you real quick. Give me a second. And it'll show you the true origins of America. It's a really well done documentary, and my brother Doc Marquis was in the third installment. Hold on, I'll show you this real quick here. So it's a documentary. So the first one, I'm trying to think here. Where is it? So there's Riddles in Stone right here. There's Riddles in Stone. I think that's part 2. There's right here. Yeah, Riddles in Stone is part 2, but then there's one called right here. This is number 1 right here. So Secret Mysteries of America's Beginnings right here. Secret Mysteries of America's Beginnings, Volume 1, The New Atlantis. That's what they consider America, the New Atlantis. Then it changes to Riddles in Stone. Okay, Riddles in Stone right here. And that's part 2, The Secret Architecture of Washington, D.C. And this goes so much further than what I've ever seen anybody do anywhere at any point in time with any documentary or any information leading to the infrastructure of Washington, D.C. being that of a cult. They go through the statues. They go through the positioning of everything. They go through the layout. It is the most comprehensive documentary on it called Riddles in Stone. And they go into the Masonic background and all that stuff. And then after that, there is Eye of the Phoenix. Eye of the Phoenix is the one that my brother Doc Marquis was in. All of these are on YouTube for free, by the way. You can go watch these. You can go look this up. And look, right here, they talk about Maitreya. There's Maitreya. I've been telling you about Maitreya for a long time. But there's Manly P. Hall, Freemason, Nicholas Roerich. He was Illuminati. All right, this is a really good documentary. All 3 of these, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you educate yourself about what America truly is, truly was, and what it is, and what it's becoming. All right, and so I didn't know. I'll have to look into that, Hyro. I'll definitely have to look into that. That's interesting. But so my point is, all right, is that we think it's one thing, but it's really another. Politics have been invented to distract us, to divide us, to kind of pacify in a way, to keep people arguing and bickering. And so I truly believe it's just a bunch of nonsense. They're going to have their New World Order whether we like it or not. I think it was J.P. Warburg, all right, J.P. Warburg, that says whether by conquest or consent, they'll have the New World Order. So with that being said, please stay close to Jesus in these last days because he is coming soon. The fig tree generation is a real thing, and that generation is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's said that generation shall not fully pass away till all these things be fulfilled. All right, so I think Jesus is coming very, very, very soon. So I wanted to encourage you with that at the end of this. May God bless you all. May he keep you. And please don't forget to go out and change this world in which you live.